Hi, my name's Tanya Martin, and I paint through emotional and true life stories. In 2012, my daughter suffered some severe physical and mental abuse in two hostels in Coventry, at Holyhead Road and the Coventry foyer. She suffered such severe negligence and abuse. She had ease of access to razors and sharps and now has scars of 1.5 inch wide with the skin dangling out from her arms. I tried to report the mental health. I expressed my concerns about the treatment and what's happening with my daughter. They opened a case with social services against me, took up anything they could from the past, and they investigated, which is fine, and then they closed the case. They apologised. They said they didn't even know why they wanted to open it, but because of who they are, they're entitled to do that, and they have to do it because they're the mental health. You know, they've got the power, so. Which is fine, I've got nothing to hide, you know. So they did that, and then following this, apparently I had a fraud investigation going on for my business, and I was getting asked to reproduce paperwork for housing benefit, and my business papers, etc. Repeatedly, I did all that. I printed out all the emails for my business. I had started to get a lot of sales at this point because I was selling across the globe to America, to quite a lot of Americans, and I was getting a huge amount of sales. Obviously, the first year of business, everything gets ploughed straight back in, and because I never got a start-up loan or any help with it or anything, and because I was past the sell-by date of age 31 at that time to get a business loan, I had to just use a lot of passion and determination to succeed, which I put in the hours. You know, I really went for it, and I enjoyed what I did, and I worked around the hours of my children. And in 2012 I became self-employed because I started making a little bit of money, not enough to live on, but just a little bit. So I was ploughing it all back in, as you do, and constantly marketing and getting out there, and I was passionate and dedicated at my home of, at that point, 12 years, and I was very settled, apart from what started happening to my daughter, Stevie Martin, who was 17 at the time. And Stevie, all she ever wanted to do was succeed in her education, get married, before she even considers having any children. She was still a virgin, she was saving herself for a special person, I brought her properly, she had passion and determination in life, and she really wanted to be successful and do well, make money first, which is what I originally wanted to do, but due to unfortunate circumstances and me believing bloody GPs and everything they said, I was a bit naive, and I ended up a single mum instead. But that's another story. The whole story you will find in my book titled Sent to Coventry. The reason why I hold that title is because I was born in Scotland and I was sent to Coventry, quite literally. So, and the old saying goes, where they send prisoners, there's no escape, etc., and all that stuff, which is amusing. But as it appears, my life has been pretty much like that. You could say I was the chosen one. When you read my book, you will understand why. This is just a briefing. I've had a couple of tough years due to my daughter's negligence, and then that they came after me. Basically, I had the fraud and all that investigation going on, and And then I went to Button's Cafe as I normally do on a Tuesday, and I had my pie and gravy, and I come out and had some sort of reaction. There was a lot of gravy on it at that time. Some new staff had taken over, it appeared. And a nice Asian lady, and she was lovely. And she asked me all about my kids, and do I come out on my own so I can be away from the kids and stuff like that. And I said, no. In fact, I love the holidays even more because, one, I don't have to get up at a certain time, and two, the kids are here, and, you know, I love spending time with my children. There's nothing I absolutely like more. Anyway, so on this particular day, basically, coming up to just after 2013, I seemed to have a reaction, this gravy or whatever. I had a lot of it that day. It was lovely. Polished it off, and within half an hour I just felt really heavy and I was dribbling out my mouth. And after all the stress with my daughter and everything else, and painting through all her pain and all the stuff and the problems that she'd had, and getting a lot of attention on the internet for what I was painting through, from various different countries, it appears that hold on a minute, I've got stuck there. It appears that Stevie suffered severe. And the problem is when you try and call out when you've got a mental health, and the only people you're speaking to on the phone is them. So she tried to call the police, etc. Obviously the actual police wasn't going to come because she was under the mental health and they'd destroyed her. They were sending her to college as well after these treatments they were doing to her, and she was getting abused by the staff, and she was suffering serious abuse at the college that she was being sent to, not only by people that were attending the college, but staff as well. I started to go see Stevie a lot, and every week I went to buy her some food, make sure the fridge was stocked out, and I did whatever I could every week. And I was seriously, increasingly concerned about the way she was being treated, and I watched her kind of deteriorating, and I kind of reported that. But anyway, as I told you, basically moving on, that got closed. But this day when I came out from the Burns Cafe, I was dribbling and I felt really sort of heavy. This night, I was sitting in front of the computer and I was kind of dozed, and I was working on my website and the kids were in the room, and I took a blast in my left eye and I think I damaged my retina on my brain. I don't remember actually leaving the chair. I just went from the chair straight face flat onto the floor. I sat there just thinking why I was in that much shock, and I went into the living room. I tried to say Listy's name and half of it cut off. I couldn't finish her name. And I just smiled, and it was a shock straight to the head. I thought, whoa, I've done damage to my brain, I've worked too hard, and etc. You know, I've really done something wrong here. I found Penny Walker, who was my psychologist from the private school that I was sent to when I was 13 years of age, and who later on moved to Coventry, around the corner from me. I kept in contact with her over the years, etc. I called her and I said, Penny, I've just had a blast straight to my head. I'm in shock. I couldn't even finish my sentences properly, and she said to me, well, there's always something wrong with your children, Tanya. I said, you what? I was blown away. I thought, yeah, because now Stevie's had serious problems through the NHS and mental health and what they've done to her. She's been seriously abused on the run up to 2013, threatened that she'll be burnt alive and set on fire and she won't live to 2013, etc. 13 years being 13 years from Tegan's death. Tegan obviously would have been 13 in 2013. So anyway, Stevie because I got the blast in the head, I couldn't go to Stevie as much as I was. I wasn't being told anything about what's happening with Stevie. I wasn't informed. She was only 17, still classed as a minor. I was just kept in the dark about the whole thing, and I was suffering myself due to what happened to me. Then I got further requests to go to housing benefit and to take more paperwork, etc. I was coming back from the school, and there was people going through the recycling bin and taking out my paperwork and stuff like that, and they were really investigating. They were going to town on me. And I thought, well, I've done nothing wrong, let them investigate, because at the end of the day, they've got a right to do so. Unfortunately, somebody gives these people the right to drug them up in their regular food places in the local city and blast them in the brain. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. They're allowed. Right, okay. Great. But I didn't deserve it. Anyway, further from that, a guy turned up and knocked the door. This was after about 8 months, because obviously I'd attempted to go to the gym. I collapsed on the floor. An ambulance driver came and he said, has anything else happened lately? I said, well, actually, I explained what happened. He said, it was the mental health. I thought, well, why? Because I did nothing wrong. Okay, they already opened a case. They gave me shit at the housing benefit offices. They already give me hell. So, and that was all closed and finished, and I thought that was done with, but obviously not. Not as far as they're concerned. Because I did say that I intended to sue them, and I'd actually contacted a few solicitors at that time who were prepared to take the case on. But due to the further harassment, etc., all my benefits were stopped, and I was hit with a massive bill for about £9,000, which I didn't understand. And then after they spoke to me on the phone and there was further investigations, they basically said to me that I could continue with my business, and it was right down to the last penny, everything I proved. So I have to prove my business. Coming to July 2013. And having people on the internet telling me don't forget to eat, and all the mental health had moved in over the profile and stuff, and which is how they work. Basically what happened was I lost about 3 stone in weight, and I wasn't eating properly. A guy coming at my door, and he took all the information, paperwork about my business. He was absolutely gorgeous, actually. He stopped the night. In fact, he stopped a few days. And he said he's going to go, but he'll be back next weekend. So he said to me, you're famous. You're internationally famous on the internet, you are, and that this is a great opportunity, etc. and stuff. And I thought, well, it doesn't feel like a great opportunity. My daughter suffered severe abuse. I've painted through all the pain and the problems I've had placed in my path. And yes, I'm selling across the globe, and people started buying artware, t-shirts, my photo and my paintings on, and concealing them in glass compartments, signed and stuff like that. And yes, I started to sell more. But I also got some invites to Italy in 2013, which I couldn't attend because I was in such a mess from what happened to me and my daughter. Anyway, I got permission to continue my business, and the guy that moved in with me was gorgeous. He worked through everything that had gone on in my life. It was like a one-on-one personal trainer, and absolutely gorgeous as well. Of course, we slept together, and then we ended up. He stayed for about 4 months, but there was a couple of things he knew about my life, which only I thought I knew. An incident when I was 12, and another one when I was 27. Because of this, I kind of got freaked out by that, as well as everything else that had happened and gone on, and I hadn't been able to get to Stevie as much, and she's obviously suffering more and slicing away with visa access to razors and sharps and death threats and stuff. I decided I better ask him to leave because it's just not on. Following that, somebody new moved up the road with somebody else, and she started speaking to me, and then she invited me out for the night, and I got severe beating to my head, the same place where I took the blast, and I got like a swelling to my head, and I was getting blood dripping from my nose, and I suffered a serious negligence and a beating too, which I didn't realise. That was on the Friday night. It wasn't until the actual Sunday night I realised that it wasn't just a hangover. It was from the head problem. Because I was angry about what happened with the NHS and everything else, and I decided I didn't want anything more to do with them, and my daughter was suffering severely, and I was suffering severely, and I basically didn't want to continue with anything more to do with them because I was annoyed. Everything got blown away, out the water, and apparently it was gross misconduct that this guy moved in with me, etc. I didn't know at the time, but I was in such a bad state, I was so vulnerable in a bad way that, I needed more help, really, and so he was happy to move in and help me. Until obviously he revealed that he knew more stuff about me than as much as I knew about me, which was scary. When somebody tells you about something that happened to you when you was alone, when you was 12 years old, and another point when you was 27 years of age, you get fucking scared. So I decided, obviously, it's time to leave. I got the head injury. And after the head injury, I got further threats, and the recognition of numbers and problems in my life has been put in place, I do believe, simply because he revealed the number thing to me. And when I was 13, I was put in the Milton Grange school. The first place they housed me was number 13, and come up to 2013, my daughter Tegan Schnell-Louise should have been 13, and it was 13 years to her death, and yet again another one of my children had been threatened not to live into past 2013. For anyone who knows anything about psychology, the traits of a psychopath, there's particular numbers that become relevant to difficult situations, and I don't know if you're watching them videos about you get 7 and 6 and 13 and 21, etc. It makes a great story for somebody, but the problem is mine's a true story and it's very tragic, and I'm not violent, I'm not aggressive, I don't go around beating people up, and I retain my anger very well, and I train at the gym and I work out, and I'm not really into fighting and stuff, so I'm certainly not a danger to myself or to anybody else. The problem I have is I've been targeted, and after I fled Coventry I was seriously pursued. But the guy who was living with me at the time, I attempted to view a property outside Coventry, and all I felt was his hand on my shoulder, and I don't remember anything else after that until tea time. He worked for the NHS, definitely, and he told me he was a psychologist from the NHS, he came from London. After this, I was invited to stay. I thought somebody gave me salvage. Another artist, erotic artist, she invited me to stay at hers New Year's Eve. I managed to save about £800. I thought, well, I've got some money for a bond. All I wanted to do was get a place to stay so I could get Stevie out of the clasp of the mental health services and the abuse she'd suffered under their care. the fact that they wanted to be involved with that simply because of their negligence. So, okay. Right, this is when the best bit starts. I got all the way to London.